Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so it seems the Lakers have waived Armel Traore to pick up Jordan Goodwin with their two-way contract. I think the idea is to maintain our center two-way players in Koloko and what's the young fella's name? Jemison. And likely allow for more diversity within our positions in our two ways. We did have Jordan Goodwin on a two-way at the end of the season last year. I don't remember exactly how we did. Just don't remember, but I know he's a rebounding guard, somebody who we would like to think has a lot of energy. I think the need for the Lakers at this point is somebody they can throw in front of smaller, fast people like De'Aaron Fox and players like that. Tyrese Maxey, Emmanuel Quickly type people. You want to be able to guard those people. I think that's the last thing for us to really address as a team, because I still don't see any perimeter defense that can guard those little tiny dudes. We're going to be asking Austin to do it. We're going to be asking Vando to do it a lot. It's going to get a little strange in that way if we don't address that. So I guess Jordan Goodwin is the Lakers' intention there, I think. But I do believe we have another roster spot. I don't know if they're going to call up Koloko or not. I still think rim protection is something we need to make sure we have within our center rotation, because the more I learn about Mark Williams, the less I believe he's going to be able to be that for us. If there's any weakness in him, it's the fact that he doesn't block shots like someone you would think his size and length would be able to. He's more of an offensive center, lob threat rebounder, offensive rebounder. He gets steals with his length, but not necessarily blocks. So I think what you're going to find is a little Jackson Hayes in him in that way. It's going to be frustrating, to be honest with you. And hopefully we can develop him into having some shot blocking prowess. The length is clearly there, but it doesn't translate if the person doesn't think defense, doesn't think shot blocking, doesn't think rim protection. And so the more I listen to people talk about him, that's the one thing I'm believing that we're going to have a problem with. It's the fact we got this huge dude, but he doesn't block shots like that. So he's still young though, so we can work on that. But as far as the rest of the season, it'd probably be a wise idea to have Koloko on our regular rotation, because Jackson Hayes isn't strong at that, and Williams is not strong at that. So we still are lacking in rim protection, which is crazy when you have somebody as big as Mark Williams. But that's what it is. So I think Koloko is equally as important as he used to be, and that's why I don't believe the Lakers waived him. And just to have center depth, since we are down Anthony Davis, we do have Mark Williams, who does have some injury issues. Jackson Hayes is back from injury. He's not reliable in that way. So you probably still need the depth at the center position, and I don't think they believe Traore can play that position. Traore can't particularly stretch the floor. So now do you need Traore as much? He's a lob threat, but not like Jackson Hayes and Williams will be. So your need for Traore has essentially changed a little bit, because now you need more catch and shoot talent around these three awesome playmakers. And now you have a need, of course, to guard smaller players, as we already said. So I get the vision. I'm ignorant as it pertains to whether or not Jordan Goodwin is a good choice. I don't know. So I just got to leave it to him to prove that. Of course, we understand that our roster spot is available to do something with. I think we will be players in the buyout market depending on what we can get. I think the most important need is to address the defensive guard position, small guarders, so to speak. It'd be nice if a guy like Cason Wallace just happened to fall in our hands, but that's not realistic. So we got to find somebody who can do that consistently. I think that's the most important thing for the Lakers right now. So, yeah, but that's it. I like Traore a lot, but he really hasn't shown anything. As much as I enjoyed what I saw from him in the film, it just didn't translate to him playing any good for us. I don't know if he's going to have other suitors who may want to pay attention to him. He could end up signing back with the South Bay Lakers, which is what a lot of players end up doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ultimately he does. Also, a bit of information that we have: the Utah Jazz waived Jalen Hood-Schifino. They have a million point guard, so that's not surprising to me. He's out in the wild at this point. That $4 million is in the wind. I don't know if they paid him that outright or if it just dissipated into nothing. I have no idea what the financials on that are, but he was supposed to make $4 million this year. So I don't know where that comes from. Maybe they bought that out. But at this point, he's free to re-sign with the South Bay Lakers if he wants to continue his career with the Lakers, or he can sign with another team. But he's going to have to get a chance to prove himself as a prospect. And at this point, I don't see any harm in having him re-sign with our team. I'd probably put him on a two-way, to be honest with you. But I don't know, the Lakers don't believe in him at all. Maybe they don't. But I still think he's a project to develop. I don't know that we necessarily have a need for what he does anymore, just in general. But if you expect him to be a career backup, which I do, then he's as good as any to develop for that role. But as far as what our point guard situation looks like going forward, I clearly think we have what we need. With Luka Doncic in place now, arguably the best point guard in basketball, I don't think we need to necessarily address our offensive point guard position. But he is a big guard who can play multiple positions. I like his length, and I hope he finds his way in the NBA, because I just don't think he's had an opportunity to even show that he can be an NBA player. I don't think anyone ever put him in a position to actually be what it is that he's supposed to be in this league. So when judging him, that's what I always say. But yeah, hopefully Jalen Hood-Schifino finds his way. So that's kind of what it is, man. I've been listening to people talk about Mark Williams, learning about the player. The offense is legit. His speed running is what's new information for me. I didn't realize he was as good of a rim and floor runner as he is. But he may not be able to rim protect as of yet. We're going to need to hire some coaches over the next several years. If we want to get some rim protection going on from this kid, he's going to have to learn how to be a rim protector. I think one noteworthy thing to understand is that he's played a total of 89 games in his career. On one hand, you're concerned about the injury issues and what that means. On the other hand, you realize that he's literally only played one season of basketball, which means there's a learning curve for the young fella. He hasn't fully developed. In fact, he's in the midway point of early development, if you look at it that way. For me, I'd say it takes 4 years for guys to develop. And he hasn't played a full 4 years. So for me, I am extremely encouraged by within 89 games, he looks as good as he does, taking into account the injury issues that likely stumped his growth some. When you consider how he's been playing over the last month, he's ahead of the curve, and I've already mentioned this in a previous video. He's ahead of the curve as it pertains to how well you expect a player to play with as much basketball as he's played. So that's why I think he was a good investment. I do believe you're going to need to make sure you have rim protection around him, though, which is frustrating, but that's just what, nobody's perfect. If he's perfect, he'd be a Hall of Famer. So you got to live with guys' weaknesses and strengths. We picked up an offensive center with a lot of length. He's going to help us on the offensive glass like crazy. He's going to rebound and dunk the ball a lot. He's going to make some plays for others. He's a pretty solid passer in a lot of situations. And he's a monster, man. I think he's somebody that could turn into like a DeAndre Ayton type. That's how I see Mark Williams now that I've done a little homework. He could potentially be like DeAndre Ayton or a little better. That's what I see there. So yeah, I was hoping he would be a bit more defensive. I from afar, because nobody watched Charlotte, I thought he was more of a rim protector than he was. That's a little disappointing that he has some more Jackson Hayes in him than he does Walker Kessler, so to speak. But I think the offense is going to be his best defense, and I think we'll probably be one of the best offenses for the next several years because of his presence coupled with everything else that we got. So that's pretty much what I got, man. I appreciate everybody for watching BDO 44. I'm out.